Hey, everybody, welcome to Muscular Development's preview of Tim Gardner's Chicago Pro coming up this weekend in Tinley Park, Illinois, not too far from Chicago. Joining me for this preview, of course, the only man I trust to do these previews from the UK, Giles Tiger Thomas. What's up, Giles?
From the sizzling hot UK. I believe this is we're on a red alert warning today. But I think we're hitting 40 degrees in the UK. I mean, I don't think that's ever happened before. I got in my car yesterday to pop out to the post office, and it said 38 degrees when I got in the car.
Okay.
Also, my aircon's bust, so in the car, so I haven't had that charged up. So that was. Oh, and I drove all the way to the post office and then forgot my wallet, and I had to drive all the way back and all the way back again.
So 40 degrees Celsius for you ugly Americans like me. That's 104 degrees Fahrenheit, which yeah. I never, has it ever been that hot there in your lifetime?
Well, the year I was born, 76, there was the summer of 76, which was very, very well known and still talked about today, about it being the hottest. It was like 6 weeks of just torrential sun, you know? There's, I mean, Lauren's been sent home today from work.
Wow. Yeah, so you said it was going to hit 41 in London, which would be 100 and almost 105 degrees. So yeah, I always thought UK didn't get that hot, but apparently this global warming is getting us all together in misery, because that's like the type of weather you'd expect in Phoenix, Arizona, Las Vegas, Dubai. Actually, I bet Dubai and Kuwait's probably like 130 degrees right now. But enough about weather, guys. We're going to get into the show. First of all, talking point, before we even begin to talk about who's in the show, it's who's not in the show. Ian Valliere. So Ian just won Vancouver Pro, got his qualification for Olympia, which I had heard was kind of he wasn't even planning on that, but he was conferring with Patrick Tour, his coach, and he was looking so good. He was ready. I think he had targeted Tampa, but he was already in shape, just decided why not win this? Because I think he had a personal vendetta, because he had taken fourth at that show twice. So as we talked about in our preview last week, so he came back and won it, but I heard from a little birdie up in Montreal, Gregory at least, that he's shutting it down and until the Olympia, which, what do you think, man? That's, you have a thread on the Muscular Development Noble Forum, qualify, then shut it down, which last year he didn't, but it looks like he's doing it now.
Do you know what? Firstly, going back to Vancouver, it was only up to about yesterday I actually saw any high quality pictures. And do you know what? I knew Valliere had improved, because even on the shitty cell phone pictures from people sat in the sixth row, I could see straight away he was improved. His rear lat spread was thicker. There was his side tricep for some reason wasn't as impressive. Maybe it was the angle or whatever. But I could see straight away that he was more impressive because he always, like I said, he always pulls it out for the night show. But even at the pre-judging, he looked really, really good. But I tell you what, Antoine Vallant really impressed me, and I think, because it was only 1 point in it between Ian and Antoine at the prejudging.
Oh, wow.
1 point, yeah. And then, as you know what Ian Valliere does, he always pulls it out of the bag for the night show and really seals the deal. So then he kind of made a comfortable margin and won it quite clearly. But at the judging, it was neck and neck, So fair dues to Antoine. But going back to the Chicago Pro, saying about Ian, so you heard that Ian is going to shut it down and get ready for Olympia.
Yeah.
But what about Tampa? What about Chicago? What other shows are there?
Texas,
yeah.
There's probably a couple more in Europe. There's a show in Europe every couple of weeks, isn't there? I mean,
Italy.
Is that the Yamamoto one or a different one?
Yamamoto. Yeah, there's the one in the UK in September.
Yeah, I mean, Ian lives in Florida. Tampa would be an easy trip for him, but
yeah,
maybe this is the strategy now, because he wants to. It's going to be a very, very tough Olympia this year, obviously, and he wants to improve on 7th place, and that's a very, very crowded top 5, top 6. To crack into that, he's going to have to be 100%. So let me tell you, you saw the high-res pictures, and I didn't. Compare that Ian to the Ian from Tampa and Texas last year, percentage-wise. Was he as good, or was he a little bit behind that condition?
He's thicker. He's definitely thicker. He's definitely bigger. He looked maybe a good few pounds heavier. Okay. But there's more density and more thickness and roundness. But the condition was good. The color was good. But the thing is, at Texas, it was such good lighting. Do you know what I mean? It was like perfect lighting and everything. So I'd really have to have them side by side and really study them hard. But you know what? Thinking about what Ian is potentially now going to do and shut it down until the Olympia, it's when you're in the pro ranks. If you're in top 10 Olympia, then that's it. You're at a certain level in bodybuilding. But then the next level up is that top 6.
Yeah.
Now, if he's got his qualification, and yeah, he could potentially win Tampa, could potentially win Chicago, whatever, and all these other shows, what do you want more? Do you want more money, more wins, or do you really want to just shut it down and just put everything in to climbing just one spot that will take you into the top 6 Olympians and take your perception and your rankings to a whole new level? So I think he's obviously weighed it up. He's probably discussed it with Patrick, and Patrick said, look, you might get another 1 or 2 wins, you might win all of them, but do you really want to have everything in the tank to get that one step further, which is top 6 at the Olympia? And like I said, that's a much bigger deal than winning 3 shows this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great strategy because he is trying to advance his career. The body weight he posted, he was 264 at the Vancouver win. I don't know what he weighed last year, but he's 5'9" on a good day, maybe 5'10". So that's a big dude. But
and his back looked fantastic. I mean, his back now really.
To me, that's where he beat Antoine, was the back shots.
Yeah, I thought Antoine, if Antoine just had slightly thicker chest and back, I think it really would have gone down to the wire at the night show as well, because I kind of didn't expect Antoine to look that good, because I thought he looked absolutely like the conditioning in the glutes and his legs. In some ways, there was a lot in terms of aesthetics. Yeah. There was more going on in his physique in some shots than there was in Ian. But Ian just, when you turn him around, I mean, he's just so much thicker than Antoine. But like I said, if Antoine had a slightly thicker chest and back, I literally would have been a flip of a coin for those 2.
Yeah, I mean, I gave Antoine the front double bicep pose over Ian, hands down. Beautiful shape, structure. Ian, not so much in that shot. But yeah, let's get into Chicago now. So we don't have a real front runner as far as, when we see like Ian's name in that show, we knew Antoine was going to push him, but we figured Ian's he's on this level. He's been top 7 Olympia. He's got all these wins. We don't have anyone going into the Chicago that's a ringer. So this is a wide open show. This is a chance for one of these guys to really make a reputation for himself. So let's start. We're going to do this fairly alphabetically. So first German import to the show, actually the only one I can see, Tim Budeshan, who was just 4th in the Portugal show. And I'm happy he's coming to see this, because I haven't seen Tim in person for a couple of years. I want to say like 2 or 3 years, maybe more. So what do you think, Tim's chances of coming to Chicago Pro and getting a win stateside in this lineup?
I think the last time you saw Tim was at the New York Pro. He got 6th. Yeah. Is that 2 or 3 years ago? I'm thinking 2018, 2019, around then.
Yeah, I want to say 2019.
Yeah. You would have seen him then. I think I thought he looked really, really good in Portugal, but I still think he can get better and crisper from the back, because I've seen it myself at the San Marino in 2017. I mean, you were impressed with him when you said we watched when we did the YouTube live review from Portugal. Yeah. You were like, I didn't realize how big he was. And he is very, very big. He's not got the most like V-tapered type physique. But he's very dense. He's very conditioned. But like I said, there was just something from the back shots that weren't coming alive for me. But then maybe a couple more weeks prepping might fix that. So, I mean, someone put on the MD forum saying, has he got a lat injury or something? I didn't see that myself. But like I said, when I saw him in San Marino in 2017, his back shots were just like, they were showstopper, whereas they just were good, impressive in Portugal. So I just want to see him a little tiny bit sharper than he was in Portugal. And then I think he'll be a threat.
2017 San Marino was like the greatest show ever, wasn't it? My goodness.
Yeah.
Cedric, Hadi, Brandon. Wow. Just thinking back. So moving on, man, Tonio Burton. I haven't seen Tonio since he was a 212, which wasn't that long ago. It was just last year. I saw him win the Indy Pro, his debut. I saw him at the Olympia. He's been doing pretty well in the Open. 3rd place at the Cal Pro. 5th place Tampa. No, it must have been Orlando. What am I writing? Tampa. Tampa hasn't even happened, Ron, you dumbass. Yeah, so he's filled out. I don't know what he weighs, but I think size-wise, he just needs a little bit more to really start pushing these top guys, but he's very, very close. I love this guy's shape. I think we both talked about little shades of Dexter Jackson, just the roundness, the fullness to the muscles, which you don't see that often. And he's got a little tiny waist, flaring thighs, just a really beautiful shape and structure, Antonio.
I thought he looked. I thought he looked more impressive at the Cali, because I think that was the first time we'd seen him with all the added size. It was the Cali, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then when it went to Orlando, he kind of got a little bit lost in the mix for me. I think maybe because I expected a little bit of better condition and separation and quality, and he kind of just looked probably not even as good as the Cali. But yeah, I think he's going to need time to really grow into this Open, but I still think he's a legit top 5 guy in pretty much any Open show now. But I really hope he is one of these guys like a Dexter that really steadily, just like literally every year, a few more pounds, because I think he's got the shape and structure just like Dexter to just be a continual rise. I mean, his readable bicep is absolutely sensational. I'm really, really impressed by that. But I like it. He's got full round muscle, but I think he needs a little bit of time to grow into this new open show kind of this body of his, and I think he needs a little bit more time, especially in the upper body, to fill it out. You know, in the front and the side and everything. But like his back shots can hang with anyone. But I think he's going to be. I'd put him around 3rd, 4th in this.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, because this is his 3rd show of the season. If he does Tampa or if he does Texas or both, that'd be a great for him to he's established himself as an open threat. That's when I would, if I was his manager or coach or good friend, I would say, okay, Tonio, shut it down now, put some size on, come back next spring with a few more pounds, and you're going to be scary. Next up, go ahead.
I'd like to see him get an invite to the Arnold Classic next year. If he shut it down after this one, or maybe 1 or 2 shows, I would love to see a great new face that's proven himself in several shows as the top 3, top 5 guy, legit. I would love to see him get an opportunity to compete at the Arnold Classic in March next year.
Now, whoever's listening from the Arnold committee, Tonio Burton, please add him to your list. Okay, next up, the other Andrea from Italy, Andrea Muzi. He has had a great spring too. 2nd in Portugal, 4th in Puerto Rico, 3rd in Toronto, 4th in Cal. So this is Andrea Muzi's 5th show of the season. It seems to me like the condition kind of goes up and down just slightly. He's not as consistent as the other one, Presti, but man, a lot of the same strong points. He's very wide up top, just a big guy with good shape and condition. Like I said, sometimes it's right where I want it. Sometimes it's a little bit off, but he's pretty consistent overall. He's definitely a threat to win this.
Because I thought he looked absolutely fantastic in Portugal. I mean, that was down to the wire between him and Presti. So he's the thing is, like you said, he's been up and down, isn't he? He's been kind of good in one show, whereas like some guys, the more shows they do, the better they get. Him, he's been kind of up, down, and then he managed to nail it at the Portugal. And he nearly won it. I mean, Presti won straight first, but I mean, he came very, very close, and he beat some very good guys like Vlad and Tim. Real guys who were doing really, really well and consistently well. So, I think if he's, I want to see him as good as Portugal, but if by some miracle he manages to even improve on Portugal, then I'm going to pick him for the win.
Yeah. I mean,
I think he's good enough. I think he's got enough in him to stay ahead of Tim. I don't know, see what Tim can do to really kind of. I mean, I've got Muzi first, Tim second, and I think Tonio third, based upon what I've seen. And I just hope sometimes some guys when they travel, they just stay on there. They stay super organized. The flights don't affect them. Sometimes they get there a week early. And they nail it. Other times, the travel and the fatigue of doing so many shows completely wrecks them. So, if he's as good as Portugal, or even 1% better, then I think he'll win this.
Fair, yeah. If you put a gun to my head and said pick a favorite, I go Muzi. It's Muzi. So, and he is not. He is. Do we know who his new coach is? Because you got a lot of crap last time. I know you corrected it during the preview anyway, but he was coached by Mauro, and now it's, do you know who it is?
No, it's Italian gentleman. I can't recall his name right now, but I've seen him in the pictures. If you go to Andrea Muzi's Muscular, go to his Instagram. There's pictures of him with his new coach, and obviously it's proved to be a very, very good team up because look how well he's doing.
Right. Jonas Gytris, another rookie. He's had a good season so far. 3rd place in his debut in Puerto Rico. Just took 4th place in Vancouver. So I'm really starting to study his physique more. Big guy, great shape overall. The only thing that he's going to have to work on is probably get a little wider in the shoulders and lats, just because I notice he does not have a real narrow waist genetically, but he carries a ton of muscle and he comes in very, very conditioned and very balanced. I don't see any real weak points on Jonas. So I expect him to be up there.
Why did he turn pro?
Jonas was the, I think the national champion or US. I should know this. It was either USA or national. I think he won the USA overall.
Oh, wow.
During one of these pandemic 2 years. I won't say maybe like 2020. I could be wrong. Maybe it was 2019. Jonas, I apologize. I know I should have everything memorized, but it was either nationals or USA. But he won the overall. It wasn't like a second place.
He's doing well.
He's doing well. So see how he does. The next guy I'm looking forward to, because I interviewed him about a month ago. He's from Mexico. They call him the Mexican Giant. He's 6'2", 280 on stage. Josue, not Jesse, not Jose. It's Josue Plasencia. I don't know if you've had a chance to check out what he looks like, but this is a big, big guy. If he comes in condition, it's hard to ignore all that muscle when it comes in really shredded.
So what has he done any other shows this season?
This season, no. This will be the first one. He plans on hitting a couple.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I had seen him. I think you've seen him too, because I want to say Chicago or Tampa, fairly recent years. I had it written down before, but I've seen him before, and he wasn't in great condition. So I think he was like 8th or 9th or 10th out of like a 15-man lineup or something. But he's got a great sponsor now, the Giant Sports Mexico. He's really determined to make a name for himself. So good luck, Josue.
There might be another dark horse, because some of these guys, you get some guys and they sort of, like Shaban did a couple of years ago. He was you couldn't even remember seeing him at Chicago a couple of years ago when he was like a 10th place guy. You were like, okay, I've never seen this guy, and then you realized you hadn't seen him at Chicago, and then 1 year later they go away, they make these crazy improvements either in terms of body weight or conditioning, or they get together with someone who just polishes them up and and really kind of turns them from a piece of coal into a diamond, and then they're just like, holy shit, I've never seen this guy before, he's new. And it's like, actually, he has been around. It's just, like the guys like in the days in the 90s when guys like Nasser and Ronnie Coleman weren't making top 15 at the shows, and you probably didn't even notice them in the lineup. And then a couple of years later, you're like, holy shit, who are these guys,
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that actually rolls very well. That segues right into the next couple of guys, because next couple of guys, they've competed several times as a pro, have not done well yet, but so first one I want to talk about is Chris DeMonico. Oh boy, that's a long name. So Chris was the 2017 national champion. He's done a couple pro shows, has not placed, he's been like last call out, but he is now working with Matt Jansen. So
okay.
I expect to see a very, very different look on Chris. He's a big guy. I think he was a super heavyweight. So, when they get with a coach, like somebody who can really dial them in, because a lot of these guys, that's all it is condition. It's not like they're missing a body part, or it's something that could be a quick fix if they get with the right person. And Jansen's he's pretty good. He's pretty good at what he does.
I mean, imagine if Ronnie Coleman had never hooked up with Chad Nichols, what would have happened there?
We'd never heard
it's
of
like
him.
that. I mean, they look at everything. They look at their diet, their training, their gear, every aspect, and then just by sort of filling in those few missing links, the magic happens, and these guys just, they just go to a whole new level. So, Matt Jansen's probably quite picky as well about who he works with, and maybe he sees something in this guy, sees some drive and some genetic and physical potential that he can work with. And the thing is, like you said, that it might not just be condition. It might be, okay, maybe they're missing some proper leg separation, or, and then, maybe he went to see him last winter and he showed him how to train a different way that, that would bring out the development in those areas and stuff. So sometimes it's, think about how small like Sean Clarida was, and then how impressive he is now, over just a couple of years of just changing things and, and just doing things right. I mean, sometimes there's greatness in these bodybuilders and you don't even see it until they get with a really good coach like a Matt Jansen or Patrick Tour or any of these guys, Chad Nicholas,
Hani, yeah.
Hani.
And the next guy, very similar situation, Eric Ramirez. He was the 2014 North American heavyweight and overall champ. He's done 9 pro shows, never placed like top 6. A lot of times I looked up his record, it said DNP, did not place. So he has not done well. And the best I ever saw him was when he turned pro. She was just shredded out of his skull, but he never looked like that again. But also part of Camp Jansen right now, Team Matt Jansen. So if anybody can help Eric, I think Matt Jansen is the man. Eric's a good dude. I see him at a lot of the shows and everything. So I like to see that. I want to see someone that I don't want to use the phrase written off because that sounds so negative, like, you suck, you're never going to be any good. But a lot of these people, I'm like, it's not that I'm writing them off, but I'm like waiting for a big change, some sort of evolution. And a lot of times it is just a coach situation. They get with someone who really works well with them, they mesh, and they end up being a great team. And that could be the case with Eric.
I mean, one thing I've learned about bodybuilding is that bodybuilders are very scattered. They're very, so there might be like the only bodybuilder in their town who's got to a certain level locally or in their state or, nationally. And they've got to a level, and that's just through their own knowledge and through their own genetics, potential and training. And then that's it. They kind of, a lot of these guys fall away. And then sometimes they might meet up with a coach who actually has the knowledge to say, look, even things are just things like gear and food and training. And sometimes, like I spoke to these coaches and I said, what did you do that's so special with that athlete? And it's like, well, he was eating too many carbs and not enough protein, or too much protein, not enough carbs. He wasn't, post-workout, he would go to McDonald's and not have a post-workout shake so he's missing the window, and his form was terrible when he was training, and he didn't have a clue about gear. He was taking all the wrong gear. And then they make these few simple, like you and I would look at their thing and say, okay, well, you could change this, and this. Right. And in some cases, if you get it lucky, you could make some serious changes to those athletes. And then all of a sudden, they just start growing and changing, and their potential then is realized by, just like I said, sometimes it's not actually rocket science. It's just having someone that can actually look at you, every aspect of what you're doing, and say immediately, highlight a pen and go, okay, right, that needs to change, that needs to change, that needs to change. I remember speaking to Neil Hill about Zach Khan. Zach Khan was already, this is 2009, and he was already at a really, really high level. And Neil rang me and he says, Giles, he says, I'm not surprised bloody Zach hasn't turned pro. He says he's too slow when he walks on his cardio. His form's terrible. He drove all the way down from Wales from up north to Wales to train legs, and he had no post-workout shake. He said, so I told him next time, bring a protein shake. Straighten your form, speed the treadmill up, just little things like that. And then, things just happen, so, but it's having someone that can have an eye that can actually identify that and implement it, and then the athlete can follow through on it.
Yeah. And it goes back to what you just said. Sometimes if they're the only really good bodybuilder in their area, they're getting ready for their show and they're at their gym, and they could look to me and you, we'd say you're 4 weeks out. But the people at the gym, they'd be like, oh my God, dude, you're shredded. I've never seen, you're going to win. And, if they don't have any frame of reference, if they don't have anyone that's looking at them and saying, no, you're not there yet, you need to keep pushing, they'll stop right there. And that's the level of condition they're going to walk into the show at. Whereas a good coach like a Neil or a Hani or someone would say, no. Now you need to do, let's add in another 40 minutes of fasted cardio every morning. We're going to take your carbs down to 0. They'll make the changes.
My very first show, there was a local masters competitor competing in the same regional. And he said, Giles, I heard you competing, looking very lean. You look completely different. He said, show us your abs. And I showed him, and I said, show us your body. And he said, oh my God, you're completely shredded. And I never competed. And I just burst out laughing. Yeah. And I said, mate, I'm nowhere near. I said, I'm nowhere near. I said, I've got bits here, there. And he was like, he couldn't even see it, I was like, I said, maybe put your glasses on. You might see that I'm not quite ready. He's like, oh no, I've seen condition. I know what it is. I said, yeah, but I'm under good lights here, and just trust me. I've got 6 weeks to go. Believe me.
Yeah, I mean, this is neither here nor there, but everyone's got one place in their gym or their house where the lighting, and especially a certain time of day, like remember Indiana Jones in the first Indiana Jones, the light would come through that thing and he had to hold the staff. Everyone can find that one spot at the one time of day where you look like a god, just shredded. But that's why a good coach will say, I want to see all your progress pictures with a flash in the same light every day and the same, because if you look ripped with flash photography, you're ripped. That's the true mark of condition, because that's the least possible complementary lighting setup is a flash.
I asked Jamie the Giant once. I said, he showed me some pictures. I saw some pictures on his Instagram feed, and I messaged him. I said, hang on a minute. I texted him. I said, this photo here. I said, you photoshopped them. And he says, no. He said, it's just because normally when I post, he says, I'm flat. It's before my workout. He says, I've got no, I'm literally flat as a pancake, either depleted in the morning. I've just got to the gym to do my cardio or whatever. And he says, and this one happened to be, I didn't get a chance to photograph myself before. And I just photographed myself literally as soon as I finished training. And I said, well, it doesn't even look like the same guy. And he says, no, he says, because I like, basically he'd like to make himself look as bad as possible so he could see what was going on for those progress pictures,
It's the total opposite of every bodybuilder on Instagram. We primp and preen and pump and try to get the perfect light. And this guy, he stands out by his outhouse. Is that what that is? Looks like
shit house.
This is the giant shit house or something on it.
Yeah, he's moved now. He's got a bigger house now.
Oh right,
he's got an inside toilet now.
Oh, I hope so. You have indoor plumbing in the UK, right?
Yeah, we got it last week.
Looks like electricity. You guys got electricity now too. All right, cool. You're okay. You're catching up. So the 212 division looks like a battle between Bo Lewis and Derek Oslin. Derek, Weapon X Pro, IPB Pro. So Bo Lewis was the 2020 New York Pro champion. He was second in Tampa to George Peterson in 2020. Last year he came to Tampa looking for a win and was not at his best. Took third place, and that's the last we saw of Bo. He's been Dektrick is his actual name, but he goes by Bo. That's the last we've seen of him, but he's been very hard at work down in Tennessee. Good friend of Hector. Hector keeps in touch with him. Yeah, so this guy has all the tools. Beautiful physique. Obviously, it's the upper body is the dominant feature, the chest, the shoulders, the arms on him. His legs have come a long way too. But, on paper, to me, looking at the lineup, it's either him or Derek. But Bo probably, if I was a gambling man, I'd probably put a little more money on him based on what I've seen him do in the past.
Yeah. So he got, what was that last show he did a few weeks ago?
He did do did he do a show did he do Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico. Yeah, he got Puerto Rico and he got second. And I still think he should have won that.
Who beat him? I can't even remember.
It was an unknown. I've never heard of the guy. He was. Okay. I'd never heard of him. He was very good. Very, very. I think he was very a lot tighter than Dektrick, and I think overall they went for him. But he wasn't quite as. For me, Dektrick, I just thought he just needs to do more shows. I messaged him. I said, you just need to do more shows, mate. I said, because you're that close. You will get a win and get yourself to the Olympia. Because he was he 10th at Olympia 2020 or 21?
I want to say 2020.
Yeah, I got 10th in the 2020 Olympia in my head. That was obviously the year he won the New York Pro.
Yeah, I believe it was 2020.
But I think if he's tightened up 2% from Puerto Rico, he's the odds-on favorite to win this one.
Yeah, but let's not write off Weapon X. Derek Oslin took fourth at the New York Pro, and that was not, who was I sitting? Was I sitting next to Jose? I can't remember. Was Jose with me? God, I can't remember anything anymore, can I? But he was off his mark. He wasn't, I've yet to see Derek really, really sharp the way I want to see him, because we've praised him many times. Beautiful structure, shape. They call him Weapon X. He's got that X frame, wide shoulders, very small waist, really nice flaring quads. And I just want to see him come in shredded. Please, Derek. He could easily win this, especially if Bo is off and he shows up 100% on. And, I should say, as I should always preface this, there's a lot of guys on that list I'm not familiar with. It could very well be the case that one of those guys I'm not familiar with is going to be like, wow, boom, and he steals the show. But right now I'm looking at Bo and Derek. But yeah, Derek, we've both been a fan and supporter of Derek for a long time. I love this guy's physique.
Bo and Derek, wasn't it a 70s film star?
What?
Bo Derek.
70. Oh, Bo Derek. Bo Derek. Oh, now you're all confused. That was the movie.
Bo Derek.
Bo Derek, yeah. The movie 10. I love that movie when I was a kid.
Everybody on the beach.
Yeah, she had the little cornrow braids, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yes, with me, it's just conditioning, because I've seen him sort of be a front runner at shows, and then I've seen him get 7th and 8th, and it literally is just purely down to conditioning, because he has got a beautiful shape, tiny little waist, the front lat spread, the front double bicep, so impressive, and he just needs to really nail it. Thing is, like you said, if Bo is slightly off, and Derek can kind of bring, is basically, it'll have to be his all-time best conditioning, then theoretically he could beat him and get the win and take the qualification to Olympia. But he's really, I think it's going to be an interesting battle. The thing is, like you said, about there's other, I think certainly this year, what I've noticed so far, Classic and 212, there seems to be so many new faces coming in and winning shows.
Yeah.
So, like you said, I like being proved wrong. I like some guy like who came out of Puerto Rico I'd never heard of, beating Dektrick, who was our odds-on favorite, in terms of rankings of where they placed, and it was like a no-brainer to say, well, he should win. But there's a lot of new talent coming in, especially, and I think it's important as well for 212, because some of these 212 shows, they've had very few competitors, and I like to see. I would love to see 2 or 3 guys coming in and giving Dektrick and Derek absolute hell. So, it's like the Vancouver last week, it was really the top 2, then everybody else, with the, in 20, we want to see someone new come in and kind of and mess it all up, because it keeps exciting, and, and it keeps fresh new talent coming in, and keep feeding these existing classes that we do not want to see die out.
Yeah. And, I didn't even have anyone Classic that I recognized to talk about in the Classic. It was a good sized list, but it could very well be the case one of those guys on that list is going to be a breakout star, could end up like top 5, top 16 Olympia. I mean, we saw it with people like Urs, Ramon Dino last year. Guys, before last year, we'd never heard of these people, but boom, they show up and they're just great. So we'll see. It is exciting.
What about that German guy that won Pittsburgh and then was the favorite to win the New York Pro, and then Neil Curry jumped over and beat him?
Was it Westerhouse?
Yeah. I couldn't figure his name in my head, but
is it Michael?
I'd never seen him before. He came out of nowhere and just won, So, but like I said, anything that adds excitement to the classes and kind of shakes things up, I think is always a good thing, Like when but even like in Puerto Rico, when Dektrick got beat, I was like, I don't know who this guy is. Why don't I know who he is? You get frustrated, but then in a way, it kind of it keeps things from going stale and predictable. So I'm all up for that.
So want to let you guys know, MD will be on site. I'll be there with Big Mike Cox. Love you, Mike, my brother. We're going to be covering both days. This is a 2-day event. Actually, it's 3 days, but Thursday night is just Pro Masters. So we're going to kick off our coverage Friday morning at 9 a.m. We're going to be on the website, musculardevelopment.com, as well as on the YouTube channel. We're doing play-by-play. I'll be uploading pictures. Hector will be uploading pictures, videos. So 9 a.m. is the judging for women's physique, wellness, and figure. Then theoretically, there's going to be intermission, 11:30 men's physique, classic physique, 212. 5:30 p.m. Friday night is the finals for all of those. Saturday morning, we don't come back till 11:30. I get to sleep in a little bit. Thank you, Tim, because he does the amateur show with that. So 11:30 a.m. fitness, women's bodybuilding, bikini, masters open classes. I think they have 35, 40, 45, 50, and open men. Open men will be the final division, and then 4 p.m. finals for all that. So Friday and Saturday, guys, stick to this YouTube channel, stick to musculardevelopment.com. We'll be doing play-by-play. Giles might even be jumping in on there on the thread. Who knows? If we're lucky and we ask him nicely. Because you're 5 hours ahead, we figured out, right? Yeah. So it's 9 a.m. So how late would you have to stay up on Friday night? Ooh, well, that's classic in 212. Pretty late. It wouldn't even start till 10:30 at night, the finals for you.
Oh.
Yeah,
come in on the pre-judging.
Yeah, you need your rest. We want you fit as a fiddle for Las Vegas in December. You have to make sure you're nice and rested and fresh, and we're going to kick some coverage ass again.
not skinny anymore because I'm in 100-degree heat wearing a hoodie because I feel really self-conscious because I went to the doctor yesterday and she was like, "Oh my God, you've lost weight." I was like, "Oh, thanks for telling me that."
It's like the worst thing we can. That's the worst thing we can hear.
So I don't want to be turning up to the biggest bodybuilding show on the planet with nobody recognizing me. So
you know what? Unlike me, I wear the extra small polo shirts. You're always decked out in these beautiful, custom tailored suits. You open up the pocket, it's got your monitor, your initials on there and everything. And yeah, you go all out for these things. I hand it to you.
Olympia.
Yeah, the Olympia. You go to the what was that movie? What was that spy movie a couple of years ago where they all go to wear the cool suits?
Oh, Kingsman.
Kingsman, yeah. Is that where you're tailor?
Yeah.
Oh man. Or is it like when John Wick goes to has his suits made? It's based on how he's going to fight and kill. So,
yeah.
Tactical. I always like a John Wick reference if I can throw one in. Just so you know, what is John Wick's body count? What's your guess?
Of which one? The film?
All three movies. How many people has John Wick killed on screen?
Oh, 130.
299. So come on, he couldn't have done one more and got 300. But,
yeah.
Random John Wick trivia for all my fans out there.
Looking forward to the fourth one where they kill his hamster.
I saw a quote where they said they're going to keep making these things as long as possible. Yeah, because everyone seems like it's the last one, but nope, they're going to keep his hamster. It was his dog in the first one. Poor little fella.
I understand that one because, I love my cats, and I think I'd go full John Wick if anyone hurt them.
As you should. Yeah, poor little fella. So that's it, guys. That will wrap up our preview of the Chicago Pro. Tim Gardner, Wings of Strength, presenting that, and it's happening this Friday and Saturday in Tinley Park, Illinois. You can go to timgardnerproductions.com for tickets. There is no pay-per-view for this event, so that gives you more of a chance to follow along with us here at Muscular Development, and we appreciate that. So keep it right here, guys. Giles, thank you so much for joining in and lending your expertise as always. And you'll be here. You'll be covering the show with me in spirit, if not in person. I won't be seeing you till Las Vegas, apparently. But that's it. Thanks. And thanks everybody for watching. And we'll see you next time.